Hi Gemini, welcome to your April 2021 reading. It's already April, I can't believe it. We're here. Aries season is upon us. Pisces season was really eye-opening, I think, for a lot of us. April is going to look very, very interesting for you guys because there's this really interesting aspect that's happening between Mars and Neptune. Mars is currently in Gemini and has been for a while. And we had that Mars conjunct the North Node business that happened in March, and kind of activating the eclipse season that's going to be happening in your season in just a couple of months, really. Like a month and a half is when the eclipse season really starts, and it's going to be a very interesting time. So when Mars squares Neptune in the second week of April, the biggest thing that you guys really need to pay attention to is the feelings that you have for yourself. Are you acknowledging how far you've come instead of looking at all of the negative stuff, instead of all of the things that you still feel like you need to accomplish to get to where you're going? This Mars squaring Neptune is going to cloud all of the really amazing things that you've done. It's going to cloud your journey up until this point, and it's going to make you second guess yourself in a lot of ways. So really, really, really pay attention to how you're treating yourself, the things that you're saying to yourself. Is it real? Is it, are you beating yourself up for absolutely no reason? Because April can be very challenging if you allow it to be really challenging for you, or it can show you where you've been sleeping on yourself. It can show you where you need to take a little bit more responsibility. A Mars squaring Neptune transit can be kind of depressing for some people if they choose to get into the energy of lack instead of getting in the energy of abundance. And you guys have been doing so much stuff. You really have been working on yourselves in like huge, gigantic ways, physically, mentally, spiritually. I mean, my oldest son is a Gemini, and I am seeing it. Like, I'm literally seeing it on a daily basis, how the Gemini energy is moving throughout this year. So not sabotaging, and every single time you feel like you sabotage yourself, because that's one of the biggest things I hear from Geminis is, like, Betsy, how do I stop sabotaging myself? I'm really on a roll, and I'm really doing things. Don't put those expectations too high for yourself. You guys have very, very high expectations of yourself. And even if you are just the fun-loving kind of Gemini, there's that twin element that you have where you can place really, really high expectations on yourself and set yourself up for failure, or you can allow yourself to go with the flow. There is a happy medium between that twin energy, I promise you. Mercury is going to be moving from Pisces into Aries, and so the communication is going to get a lot faster. With Mercury in Pisces, it's felt like it was another Mercury retrograde, to be quite honest. Mercury's in his detriment when he's in Pisces. He doesn't necessarily like being there because it's foggy. We can't think straight, but that's because we're not supposed to be thinking straight with Mercury in Pisces. We're supposed to be going by our intuition. Now, as Mercury is going to be moving into Aries, he will be sextiling with Mars before he shifts into Taurus, because Mercury is only going to be in Aries for 3 weeks and then popping into Taurus on April 19th. So it's going to be a really fast transit, and Mercury is going to be sextiling Mars also. And so you don't want to sleep on yourself during that Mercury-Neptune transit. You really want to build yourself up. So like the first 2 weeks of April, really make sure that you are setting yourself up for success when it comes to the mental notes that you're taking, when it comes to the mental capacity that you have. Don't drain yourself before you get to the second week in April, because I guarantee you, if you're super drained and you have no energy, that's going to be a really quick shot towards that depressive feeling. And I don't want you guys to get into that. So don't drain yourself the first 2 weeks. Allow yourself to flow with the energy and instead of trying to force anything to happen. Once Mercury hits Aries, time is legitimately going to fly really, 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 really super fast at that point. And wait until Mercury sextiles Mars in your sign. That's going to be insane. That's going to be happening on the 17th Mercury will be sextiling Mars and Jupiter. Mercury will be like the midpoint between Mars and Jupiter. On the outskirts, Jupiter's in Aquarius. Quickly making his way to Pisces. That's going to be happening next month. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that stage. Whoa. All right. Yeah. Oh, see, this is exactly what I was... And you saw how that card flew out too. So the first card that came out is the Tower. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you could easily find yourself in sabotage moments. If you really want to learn some new lessons, you could easily do that. Or you can allow yourself to not overextend your energy to the point to where everything starts to fall apart because you don't have any more energy left to keep it together. You see? So the Tower is the first card that came out, and there's the Ace of Wands. This is a really big opportunity. There's something, and maybe this Tower already happened. Maybe this was a realization that you already had back in March. Or it could have even been a realization that you had last year. But this is an opportunity of growth, right? When we get the Tower energy in a reading, it's about course correction. It's about getting you back on your path. So there's a lot of, I love this reading for you guys so far. So there's definitely a cycle that's ending for you, but it's bringing new opportunities in. The more this cycle ends for you, the more you bring the opportunities in. And I feel like you may not necessarily believe that these are opportunities. I need to move my phone here. So we have the Tower, we have the Ace of Wands, we have the World, the Ace of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, see what I mean? And the Six of Swords. So I feel like there's this, it's almost as if you recognizing that moment of no return, you recognizing that you can no longer rely on your past. You can't even rely on yourself from the past. Like, that ship has sailed. That stuff is over. There's no more reckoning that we need when it comes to any of that. But you're also you're pulling out, how do I want to put this? You're pulling out the blessings from the rubble. The way everything fell apart, probably not very pretty. The way you felt uncomfortable, probably the nicest word that I could use for the situation. The way that you allowed yourself to recognize how that situation was not serving you anymore, that past was not serving you anymore, and how the only way that you can get through this pain and this heartache is if you move on. You see? And when you move on from whatever that Tower moment was, the universe is like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. You've arrived. Finally. Here's a blessing. Here's a blessing. It's like Oprah showing up in your house. Here we go. Here we go. Here's some friends. I know you lost some friends. Here's some new friends. I know you lost your significant other. Trust me, you're going to look more beautiful next year, and they're going to regret they ever left you. This and this and this and this and this and whatever it is. Sure, you had to leave your family behind, but did they really understand you to begin with? And that's where the acceptance comes in. And the recognition that just because something ended, that doesn't mean the entire world is over. Just because that rejection happened, and we all know that rejection is protection from the universe. The rejection is literally stopping you from sabotaging yourself. Now, Geminis are so clever that you guys will find a way around that rejection, and you'll find a way to keep on trying to force it, and you'll find a way to keep on trying to do it, to get the thing that you really, 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 really want, because you know you want it. But if you don't do that and you allow the universe to take the thing away from you completely, and you say, listen, or you let the universe say, listen, I have something better for you if you just trust me. That tower will actually mean something more positive than you previously thought. So let's see what this tower is going to turn into. Oh, yes. Boundaries, boundaries, 7 of Wands on the tower. You betcha. I don't know any tower moment in my life that hasn't created a boundary for me, that hasn't enforced a boundary that I already had. Every single tower moment that I go through, and we can look at tower moments as things like having to leave a job, having to leave a relationship, having to move, having to leave behind your childhood home and move on, you know, struggling with finances and then finally realizing why you were struggling with finances to begin with. But this 7 of Wands is telling you, this is like a promise of a new day. The more healthy, loving boundaries, and healthy, loving boundaries does not look like a brick wall that people have to prove themselves to climb over. That's not a healthy, loving boundary. A healthy, loving boundary is where we have a fence with a door. And we look deep within ourselves, and we are responsible for who we're allowing to come through that door. Instead of pointing fingers and telling people that they're not being good to you or they're not being nice to you, you get to allow who's going to be good to you. You get to allow who's going to be nice to you. And if they're not, they swiftly get their ass kicked right out the door. Your rules. You're the doorman. Be the doorman. Ace of Wands. The doorman to life, like on 5th Avenue. I'm just saying. 3 of Wands on the Ace of Wands. I might have just got done watching Sex and the City again. Maybe. Man, that Carrie Bradshaw. Whew. She's got some issues. I just like every episode, I just wanted to look at her and be like, girl, we need to talk. We need to have a conversation. 3 of Wands on the Ace of Wands. Do you know that there are so many opportunities that are being presented to you now that you cleared out that gross junk that you were holding on to? Now that you have these healthy, loving boundaries, the 3 of Wands, it's just presenting you with more. There's so much for you to get out there and see. And the world, you know, you closed that cycle. That tower was the ending of that cycle. If you're still trying to find closure within a situation that's already over, that is not the way that works, because the closure of a situation is the ending of a situation. Also, don't rush into the next thing so quickly. It gets lonely in that in-between stage. It gets really, really lonely from when we lose something to when we gain something again, to when the universe fills up that void that we feel inside of us, because the universe is saying, but I want you to fill that void first. I don't want, see, the point of the universe bringing you gifts and the point of you attracting these gifts is that you deserve them, that you did the work to get them. If you rush to try to get the next gift without allowing yourself to soak in this opportunity of healing and patience and a little bit of time, then that gift doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't matter that much because you didn't patiently allow yourself to be groomed to get it. Do you see what I'm saying? And there's a sense of accomplishment, I guess. When we allow ourselves to be groomed by the universe to get the next best thing, instead of trying to rush to the next best thing, you recognize the beauty. You recognize the beauty in all of the damage. I watched this movie when I first moved back to Kansas City at the end of October. I watched this movie, Collateral Beauty, like 5 times because it's just a stunning, I mean, it's a very sad movie. If you're kind of in a sad place in your life, I don't really necessarily, suggest watching it, but it's a beautiful message and it's a beautiful story, and there are a few lines in there that are just amazing that you just want to like soak in. And that's what this feels like. It feels like the collateral beauty. It feels like the pain within that experience that you had to go through. You need to feel that. Rushing into the next thing just to mask those emotions and mask those feelings are going to put you right back where you were when that tower came down. You see? So let's see what this Ace of Pentacles is, because the universe definitely wants to fill that void for you, but there's there's an ending, right? You have to feel, and the reason why we have to feel the pain, the reason why we have to sit in that and allow ourselves to accept what happened and feel all of it is because that's a lesson that we're learning, that we don't ever want to be placed in that situation again. We don't want to be put in a situation where we feel like we have to change ourselves for other people, position ourselves so that other people are comfortable, right? We don't want our discomfort to be somebody else's comfort level. Do you see what I'm saying? So that 10 of Swords, although it was really, really bad, the universe is creating opportunities for you to heal through that. And like I said, that Mars squaring Neptune, like, it's going to be a whirlwind where, you really think that you're doing great. You really think that you're doing great. And bam, the universe is going to be like, but you're sleeping on yourself in this place. And you can either go really deep into that, the harshest aspect of who you are, or you can pull yourself out of it and recognize that this is just another bump in the road. It's time for you to make better choices for yourself. It's time for you to take better roads, to take new roads, because those roads are creating opportunity for you, right? So the 2 of Wands on the 3 of Swords, it's like, don't stay in that, like, where do I go? Which way do I go? Which way do I go? Which way do I go? Because that pain, will turn into desire. 2 of Wands on the 3 of Swords. You can't hide away from it. You can't. There's no direction that you can go in that's going to take the pain away. The only thing that you can do for yourself is to go within, right? You want things to get easier, and that's the deal, is you want things to get easier, but the more blockages that are put in front of you, the harder it is for you to see through that. So that's really what I want you to do. Instead, I want you to recognize how you're building a new foundation. Things have to fall away. Things have to fall off. And it can be a super, super messy, painful existence for you, or you can allow yourself to patiently build that foundation one brick at a time. And then just put a fence around it, right? So we have the Knight of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the 10 of Cups. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Gemini. See, this is what I'm saying. It's going to feel like it's taking forever, but it's not. It's actually happening really, really fast. The universe just doesn't want you to skip the steps to where you're going. Okay? And where are you going? You're headed here. Make sure that you're placing your attention on what it is that you want to have for long-term abundance and happiness. Right? And don't skip the steps. I love you guys. Woo! Almost to your season. Almost. We just got to get through Taurus season, Aries and Taurus season. I love you guys. I do have a few discounted reading spots in April using the code TAROT20. You can get 20% off a 30-minute tarot reading or a spiritual counseling session if you don't want to use the cards. We can just intuitively talk and see what's going on and see if the spirits want to give you some help. So you can find all of that on my website, fearlessintuition.net. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful April, and I will see you very soon. Bye.